The awful death of Kobe Bryant last week, his daughter and the other passengers, has caused a great deal of sadness and grief. I've spoken to a lot of people because I'm in Los Angeles at the moment, that are struggling to come to terms with it. It's a massive disruption when someone with a high public profile dies. Of course, there is the actual, literal tragedy of a man, his daughter, the other people who, obviously from a human perspective, are all equally as valuable as one another, all losing their life in a sudden, jarring, unexpected moment. But I suppose there's always this correlative grief when someone who have impacted the life of a lot of people dies. What I'm struck by in such sad instances is the drama of moving from a position that most would regard as enviable, that degree of excellence, that degree of success, that degree of beauty, wealth, power, brilliance, charm, charisma, to the sudden, jarring, jagged nothingness of death when there is an accident, or when life comes to an end unexpectedly. We're confronted with the reality of our condition here, finite, terminal condition for all of us, that all of us will sooner or later die. Not all of us will provoke such widespread reflection and grief and sadness. People obviously continually dying without note or without regard. It's interesting to consider the value and importance of human life, something that we neglect to consider in the city of Los Angeles, when a figure who is beloved, who represents a great deal of success, who is, from what I know, was a really beautiful, lovely man. My wife said it seems like he left like a trail of magic behind him, people sort of remembering and holding on to small instances where they were sort of touched and had his energy or blessing bestowed upon them. Of course, Kobe Bryant was an ordinary person with exceptional abilities in areas of life that are valued, and we now know for certain is not exempted from the ordinary conditions of life. Me, when it happens, it makes me feel like, what does it do? Do you remember when Diana died and it kind of metastasized a lot of grief and pain and sadness? It brought together a lot of things that people were sort of feeling. It provided some kind of social catharsis for, like, say in America, maybe this is, you could say, a kind of a divisive time politically. Even if you take just some of the dominant political issues that have defined America in the same way that, say, Europe and whether or not to belong to the European Union has affected the United Kingdom. Like, say, guns and gun ownership, some people really for it, some people really against it, pro-life, pro-choice. These all people can come together in a moment when something like as sad, as incontrovertibly sad as the death of Kobe Bryant and the other people that died in that crash. We can all, like, in that moment, agree, wow, look at life and look at death. Look at life and look at death. How important are the other things that we spend our time dwelling on, debating, considering? It's almost like we acknowledge that we willingly enter into an illusion because, of course, we don't live our life with one eye on death. I speak to a lot of spiritual teachers. I'm trying to cope with all this, this world. I get told this: live with the awareness of the moment. Don't live in the conceptual mind. This is Eckhart Tolle specifically said this to me the other day. Don't enter into the conceptual mind. Nothing will ever be enough for you there. Live always in your awareness. Stay with the awareness. Go as deep as you can into your awareness. Don't tell yourself stories about your past or about your future. For people that are unable to process the grief and sadness of the death of Kobe, I would say what positively can be taken from it. I've seen people create art, I've seen people give beautiful speeches, I've seen people tell beautiful stories, all examples, I suppose, of a positive response to the inevitability of death, even when it is a surprising, sad, abrupt, sudden, early death, such as the ones that we're discussing now. No one can add anything, and no one can anymore garner the sadness of that man and his daughter and the other people on that helicopter dying. But perhaps what we can take from it, because these are the incontrovertible conditions that we live with, perhaps what we can take from it is what is valuable to us, what can we unite around, and the things that divide us, how important to us are they really? Because every single person that we're arguing with is going to die, and we're going to die as well, perhaps in a surprising, sudden, abrupt way, or perhaps a slow, lingering, dwindling death in some bed on ever less clean sheets, eking out a slow, gradual, translucent, pulsing death. Man, it's sad, but beautiful that we are still here. Are the people affected? Are the people directly affected? I suppose we should all think, when someone's directly affected by death and tragedy, perhaps we can make our focus taking care of them if we're given the opportunity to do it. Because if we're only tangentially or culturally affected by an event, perhaps our job is to learn from it.